In the practice, by doing so, it helps us to our own perception very much, become a wisdom. And that's beneficial to our mind to input. So these are even with the frustration, we think like that. And from our side, the practice of frustration, we can lead other sentient beings to practice together. So there are visualizations that right side, all the maybe this way better, front and the right and left, all the sentient beings to whom that you have a direct kind of access in our environment, not only the human, but even can be animals. The certain texts talk about the right side, or the father sentient being, mother sentient being, and behind the rest of the limited sentient beings. So whichever way you want to think, I just feel that all sentient beings are participating in the practice that you do, and you are very much the leader. The purpose is to purify any limitations the sentient being carry and accumulate resources to achieve liberation and Buddhahood. We can also, there's also a practice that we can relate to bring effective purifications, our own existence. Then, through visualization, we visualize entire our past incarnations. Can be human, can be other realm beings. Simply understood that each of every reincarnation of ours from that particular realm, but for the purpose of effective purification, you understand they carry the similar the quality of mind that you have, the understanding of the practice, the faith towards the practice, and also whatever reincarnation that you're going to reincarnate in future lifetimes, also bring forward. Through this visualization, it understood the purification of our past karma and purifications of the future going to commit karma will effectively purify by individual, that particular living being who commit the karma. And that particular reincarnation, even though it's yourself, but you're continuing, still there's a different, the human and also our past lifetimes, maybe the reincarnation, maybe in the God realm, it can be an animal realm, whatever. So this is one of the practice that to bring effective purification. So all these visualizations we can do.
Omo namo menzo shiriye, namo su shiriye, namo dharma shiriye su. Omo namo menzo shiriye, namo su shiriye, namo dharma shiriye su. Omo namo menzo shiriye, namo su shiriye, namo dharma shiriye su. Omo namo menzo shiriye, namo su shiriye.
Okay, please.
Hola, hola. In Spanish. Oh, yeah. Yeah, so good morning to everyone. And yeah, good night or good day to anyone on the online. So today we start the session with this, refreshing the correct or the beneficial motivation, the altruistic motivation that we briefly explained last night. Simply by dedicating entire rest of one's existence, in particular this whole life and this very year, this very week, this very day, and this very session to be most beneficial in the service of numberless sentient beings' happiness, from temporary happiness up to the ultimate happiness of enlightenment, and for the benefit of the preservations of the Dharma and the virtue, both in extensive learning as well as actualizing realization on the stages of the path. So that is the reason why we are here. Then in particularly dedicating, whatever merit we're going to accumulate through Dharma discourse to those have a special karmic affinity with us, those of the friends and families, and those of the living beings, human, animals, and the rest of the beings that who even environmentally live nearby, and have interaction like through working place or social environment. Why we happen to be in a certain place, why we happen to be born in a certain certain particular country, particular place, have certain beings as your family member, as your parent. So all these are very subtle but very, very special. It's all due to karma, and that closeness, even environmentally, there's a reason that we have a closer connection to these beings. Even of those difficult people that comes in our way, also has a special karmic connection, and there are certain karmic connection put us in a position to improve the relationship. Certain karmic position is to put ourselves in the opportunity to purify the negative relationship and to to build a new connection, and eventually through gradual such kind of practices, then we will come to a position like the Bodhisattvas, that you have only one connection, one way of connection with the rest of the sentient beings, which is loving connection. Everyone able to manage to see them as a dear one, as a loving one. Then eventually, complete getting rid of this three partial kind of attitude. By doing so, the quality of that mind, we will arrive to a position that we see entire numberless sentient beings, no different than the dearest person in our life, like such as our mother. I mean, for some people, they may not have a good relationship with the mother, but whoever in your life that you feel the most precious. Somebody out there that one can feel and one have a relationship that regarding the most beneficial, most cherished person in life. Generally, is the mother. Logically, practically, it's supposed to be a mother because mother is the one that who give us life. Mother is the one that who taking care of us in the most vulnerable time, where ourselves very much in the helpless, incapable, like such as when we are in the mother's womb for 9 months. Even father won't able to fulfill that responsibility, except mother. If who didn't care for us, protect us, love us, we won't have the life that we have now. Which anybody, how miserable life is going on, still you cherish one's life, isn't it? Anybody, to think about your life. If your life is enjoyable, of course you will cherish. Even it's miserable also, you will find every ways to protect that life, every ways to, serve that life. It's, everywhere you cherish that life, isn't it? And that cherishable object, the cherishable phenomena, the so-called the I or the person, me, exists because of the unconditional love and care and protection of our mother. So, logically, practically, your mother is the nearest, closest, person in our life. And if there's any way one feel that mother didn't treat us well, mother abused me, didn't love me enough, in reality, all these are misunderstanding, limitations of our own view, limitations of our own capability to understand. Because in today's world, there are many people also express that I don't have good connection with my mother. Mother have abused me, mother didn't love me enough. But if you use logic, if we really use real common sense from depth of your heart, then there's no kinder than a mother to anybody. So one day we will come to a position that we see every single numberless sentient beings, not just whole human being, but whole entire animals, entire spirits, entirety of the living sentient beings. You will have this heart of cherishing as precious as this life's precious mother. So, and that time, very much, in having such a sustainable heart, open heart, in that manner, then we reach to a point called the Bodhisattva level. Due to the heart of bodhicitta, you manage to have that quality of your heart. And no question about, if you reach to a level of Buddhas and absolute perfected. But even before becoming Buddha, even in this ordinary human aggregates, by developing our heart, through the training of our motivation into compassionate way of, compassionate way of seeing, or compassionate way of relating to other sentient beings, eventually, we will reach to that kind of point. So that's our motivation. That's the benefit of each time, whatever we do. If we, if we manage to dedicate our effort in that altruistic way, so it has so much of beneficial things comes in our way. It does purifies our impartial attitudes, excessive attachment to certain people, excessive aversion to certain people, and complete kind of ignorant to rest of the other existence. And that is miserable. That is imbalanced kind of emotion, and which serve as the basis to bring emotional sufferings, and also establish many kind of action that can bring harms. So you see. Yeah. So then, those of you who already taken refuge in Buddha Dhamma Sangha, and we also refresh refuge in Buddha Dhamma Sangha. And those of you who have not taken refuge in Buddha Dhamma Sangha, then simply understand our true nature, our innate being is no different than the Buddha, no different than the Bodhisattva we just talked about. Our innate being, our true being, as pure as the heart of the divine ones, such as Buddhas. The ignorant, the delusions, the karma, everything came later. That's those limitations are not our innate quality. Even the main base of defining self, which is the consciousness, in the nature of that subtle consciousness, which we call clear light, the clear light mind. In Buddhist term, we call clear light mind, or we also call it as a clear light wind mind. And that is the main base of the self, that which is the innate phenomena, which prevails in three times: past, present, future. The gross aggregates, including of the gross mind, comes and go. No question about physical body, like human body, comes and go. Whichever reincarnation we take, the gross aggregates comes and go. It does not. It's very much, it's one lifetime's phenomena. But there's one particular phenomena which serves as a very stable base to be able to define the same being, which in fact yesterday briefly talked about, the which never dies. So even in the human form, when the human dies, the being don't die. The human dies. The death of human being very much due to the disintegrations of the human aggregates, the gross one. But the being, the clear light, never dies. if clear light dies, then there's no continuation to able to define reincarnation. We weren't able to trace the gene of that being that came from past to present and present to future. So from Buddhist teaching point of view, the main defining our past life, our future life, is very much the clear light consciousness, which is very subtle. And it also has conventional aspect and the ultimate aspect of that. The conventional aspect is the potential that which we can develop the qualities of Buddha, qualities of the Bodhisattva, as mentioned before, by exercising even in the thought, the motivation that all sentient beings are as precious as my mother. Eventually, it will come to a point that your heart completely develop into bodhicitta, the Bodhisattva's heart, the great compassionate heart, great loving heart, the all-pervasive love, all-pervasive compassion. And that will even, develop up to the omniscient love, omniscient compassion, omniscient altruism, the Buddha's mind. And all these are possible because we carry the potential all the time, which is we name in Buddhist teaching called the conventional Buddha nature, or the relative Buddha nature, which is the conscious aspect of the clear light, the subtle consciousness, this subtle base, or where we designate as a being, the conscious aspect is the conventional Buddha nature. The ultimate aspect of that, which we call emptiness of, that clear light mind. Sometimes we even, express clear light. When we say clear light, can directly understand that emptiness nature, the emptiness nature of lacking of inherently existent, which exists interdependently on the conscious aspect of that subtle being, can be understood, that emptiness nature of our being as a ultimate clear light mind, ultimate nature of the clear light mind, and that which make possible of even achieving the wisdom body of the Buddha, or enlightenment. Now, the Dharmakaya, or indestructible, perfected, wisdom body of the Buddha, and that is achievable because we carry potential of that. We carry the seed of that, and what is that seed? Is the ultimate nature of our being. Is that is the seed. So that seed can be nurtured, and it can grow the wisdom realizing of emptiness in the Bodhisattva level, and that wisdom continue to grow until it become the wisdom of the Buddha, which is we call the Dharmakaya bodies of the Buddha. Earlier during the prostration, I was talking about there are all these different representations of the Buddha's images are expressions of Dharmakaya. That is, Dharmakaya is talking about the wisdom bodies of the Buddha. So everything is expressions of the wisdom body. In another languages, everything is expressions of the emptiness. Even the form body, which mentioned before during the prostration, the Sambhogakaya aspect of the Buddha's body and Nirmanakaya aspect of the Buddha's body. In Tibetan, we call the Lungu, Sambhavakaya aspect of the Buddha's body. In Tibetan, for the Nirmanakaya, for the Kewa Tulku aspect of the Buddha's bodies are all come out of the Dharmakaya body, the wisdom body. In other words, everything arises from or arises out of the ultimate nature of emptiness. Since there's no inherent, substantial, independent existing from its own side, then wisdom can able to bring about with the right cause and condition, entire existence. So that's why, yes, life is miserable, but the miserable is created by wrong concept, wrong mind. We briefly discussed yesterday, due to negative emotions, due to ignorance. But because even that miserable life is not inherently existent, it also lies ultimately in the nature of emptiness. Therefore, samsara can be purified. Therefore, limitations can be purified. Yesterday, we briefly talked about everything is creations of our mind. It is also understood as everything is creations of emptiness. When there's emptiness, everything exists. When there's mind, everything is possible. So it's simply good or bad, samsara or nirvana, Buddha or an enlightened state. Everything is quality of our mind, because we carry that potential, and just simply utilizing that potential, and the more you utilize it, the purity of experiences and existence start to accumulate. When the potential is utilized fully, completely, and that's we call in Buddhist term the fully awakening state, the state of Buddhahood. So Buddhahood is within. Buddhahood is not something that have to find in Tibet or Himalayas. You can find right in Wagga, and not even in the Wagga anywhere else. That Wagga person in ourself, it's within each and every one of us. So now my point is that potential is our refuge. So if you have this traditional way of taking refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, fine. It's ultimately bring to the same meaning, but there's a different way of explanation. But those who don't have refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, we have refuge. Everybody equally have refuge. Everybody equally have the Buddha within, the Dhamma within, the Sangha within. But if you follow different religion, if you are not yet ready to follow any religion, then that doesn't discount that you have no refuge. So even different religions are, such as like Buddhism, is all about figuring out ultimate refuge. It's very much about learning about the self. Learning Dhamma is very much learning about self. By overcoming the false established I, the false established person, you're able to reach to the real I, the legitimately existent I. And when you discover that through the tools of conventionally establishing the conventional truth of self, eventually you get to a point that you manage to see your ultimate self, and that is nothing other than the Dharmakaya nature, which is the Buddha. So at the moment, it is just in a potential kind of state, And when we fully discover and you are fully awakened, so then you achieve Buddha within, So taking refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha first to the causal refuge will cause us to achieve the resultant refuge. So at the moment, we pay respect, we try to relate for purification, accumulation, merit to the object in front of us, and try to exercise our mind to also see the actual Buddha on the objects of the merit. Just now when we do prostration, I say, all the statues, tankas, we don't relate them as a material object. We try to relate them as an actual Buddha. So by exercising that, in another word, going refuge to the object first will cause us to actualize the resultant refuge within, which is yourself becoming Buddha Dharma Sangha. So that's the whole reason why we take refuge, why we go for refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha. So anyway, this is the motivation stage. I haven't started the topic yet. This is the motivation stage. So talking about refuge. So my point is, the correct motivation or the altruistic motivation, that big-hearted motivation, is not just word. We don't just do for just nice thing to think only. Because if you think like that, if you motivate like that, it does affects, it does bring result in transformation within. And in order to make sense of that, that's why I try to talk about the inner Buddha. You see, it's very much kind of like how to say, you very much kind of on the switch to see the Buddha within, even through that setting of the correct motivation, and it does activates all our inner values, inner systems. So motivation does carry so much power. In fact, the last night the talk was all about that, actually, the power of motivation, power of the mind, isn't it? So yeah, so for that, then as auspiciousness, I will recite refuge prayer, and there's also verses that which in relation to the altruistic motivation, as such called as 4 immeasurable prayers. Immeasurable love, immeasurable compassion, immeasurable equanimity, like that. Then after that, there's a verse that pays salutation to Guru Shakyamuni Buddha, who is the source of the Dharma wisdom that we're going to discuss. So that from our side, create the interdependent condition, so that easier to, nurture our heart with the Dharma teachings. Then after that, there's a verses paying salutation to the lineage masters, like here, Australia. We're very good. We acknowledge ancestors in the honor of the land of the past, present, future, which is so beautiful. So in Tibetan Buddhism, whenever we pay salutation to the Buddhas of the 3 times and the gurus of the 3 times, so they are very much like the landlords. They are very much like the authority to our spiritual development. The spiritual practice is something beyond word, beyond concept, beyond object, beyond humans, ordinary humans' knowledge. Is absolutely divine, profound, infinite. And in order for us to really bring the impact of the Dharma, then we need the blessings. The blessings are the key thing that which nurture our spiritual being. So just a word, just a word alone won't able to manage that. Just the external ritual alone won't be able to manage that. So we need the channeling of blessings from the Buddhas and the Gurus. So that's the reason, before we do Dharma discourse, so we pay salutations, like in our culture here, before we do anything, we pay respect to the ancestors. We pay respect to the ancestor here. I'm referring to the altar of, the past. How you say? Elders of the past. And also say the present and the emerging. So that's the same thing. And that is also beautiful because that connect, that very much like include entire existence, the past, present, future. So that also help to open our heart, and that also really, again, expresses your true nature, which is Buddha nature. The respect, gratitudes. Otherwise, like me, only me, only one, only present. There's no connection to the past, no connection to the future, and no connection to other. Very much, egoistic kind of manner. So there's a lot of relationship there, Yeah, so there's a prayers so from your side, just strengthen that motivation and also try to acknowledge your true being, beyond the recognition of that ordinary person, that's just a human being alone. There's something, bigger than that, something greater than that. We are definitely greater than just about this lifetime's meaning. We are much more greater than that ordinary individual. It is, just that one ordinary human individual is a very limited idea. It's a very small knowledge of knowing who we are. It makes our this amazing life so small and so limited. Very much this, just recognizing of that ordinariness, that impure being is so small. It's a small-minded thinking, and sometimes when we don't wake ourselves up out of this ignorant, we do think, we do live within that small thinking, just about this life only. Forget about past and future, our existence, and just focus on this ordinary person. Forget about that Buddha being, that amazing pure being, altruistic being, you see. But then when we remember them, there's a benefit because that uplifts you, that makes you feel, giant and infinite. It opens our heart, isn't it? Yeah, so just try to make sense to that and try to settle in that present moment, the clarity and deep and profound wisdom that which also pervades in entire existence. Make your mind as like ocean, as like space, so deep but so profound, so extensive, like that. Sangye Jodang Zoji Jonam La Janju Bado Dane Gyasumche Daji Jeje Gebe Zonam Dola Benje Sanje Rubara Sho Sanje Chodang Soji Chonam La Chanju Badu Dani Jasum Daji Cheche Jebe Sonam Ji Dola Benje Sanje Rubara Sanje Chodang Soji Chonam La Chanju Badu Dani Jasum Daji Jinso Jebe Sonam Dola Benje Sanje Rubara Sho Semje damje dewa dan dewe gyudan dembar gyuje semje damje dunga dan dunga je gyudan dawa gyuje semje damje dunga meben dewa dan mi dawa gyuje semje damje nyere chadan yedan dawe danyo la ne paran gyu kange doze ne zone tawa damje pambe chere tambe chune tuenz kodam de la cha se lo donye ninje sundo jube na seje kanche tente Chana bemo denzen jazo la sowa defo da gyu chin ye lo. Sa je beje jonje mendo dam re rab le jin yin de je ma de. San je shin do mi de bewa. Dogo nam da shin la che bara e jo da je lu nga ye so long jo de zon jan zon je. Rinje men ra sambo kun san so ba. So jo ba lo ya la ma yi to ku jo son na. Tuje wanje shin yen da la jin je lab do so da ge cha da mo so je be yu ta nye ba so le da long jo. Pamba me ba bu je le shon ne to so ran san do wa shin je ye dam guru ra na men da. Kam ne ya da ya me. Okay, thank you. Yeah, so please settle yourself and yeah, we try to spend a few hours of time together. And I'm thinking so the topic of today is on refuge and preliminary practices for Ngondro. So it is about refuge. So there are a few points to discuss about that. You know, why we need refuge, why we need to take refuge. Then the characteristics of the object of refuge, like such as Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, and the causes and conditions that which make us gain the refuge precepts, the value of refuge, or the refuge vows, or the spiritual kind of the spiritual aspect of the enriching, the nurturing our heart. You know, that requires some specific causes and conditions. That yeah. So then the precepts, the exercises, after taking refuge in Buddha, Dharma, Sangha, then what kind of exercises, what kind of practices that we can practice in our day-to-day life. Then at the end, those of you who already taken refuge, then we refresh them. And those of you who freshly want to take refuge, then we can do short refuge ceremony very much towards the end. So yeah, so then in between, we can do some question answers. So this is a rough plan for today. So hopefully
lunchtime 12.
Oh, lunchtime is 12. Yeah, then very important. This lunch is 12. Okay. So generally, the, how to say, understanding of refuge is something as a protection, something that which give us assurance, guidance, leads, protections, etc., etc. So therefore, they are worldly refuge and spiritual refuge. You know, for worldly purposes, you know, we go for certain guidance, we go for certain insurance, protections, leads, etc. So I think even buying insurance, health insurance, car insurance, house insurance, I think all these are worldly refuge. You know, it's very much. So then in some culture, they take refuge for health, for prosperity. They take refuge in spirits. They take refuge in nagas. They take refuge in landlords. They take refuge in humans, etc. So the spiritual refuge also, you know, those of the theistic believers and non-theistic believers, there are different way of taking refuge. So most or all of the theistic believers, they take refuge in ultimate creators, which call ultimate creator, which is God. You know, take refuge in God. It has its own, you know, extensive reason for that. Non-theistic believer also, you know, there are few kinds. Non-theistic believer mainly we can understand as who believe in karma, the experiences in life very much to do with your own action. Is not in relation to creators, ultimate, you know, kind of some external force that which is defining our experiences in life, good or bad, is very much understood that it is due to karma, means action, and that action is not by others' action; it's very much your action, our own action. There are non-Buddhist, you know, religious, non-Buddhist religious cultures that who don't believe the ultimate, you know, external creator, but they believe in karma, but they are not Buddhists. Then the Buddhists, they don't believe in ultimate creator, external force, but they believe in karma. They believe everything's creations of our own action. And the difference between the non-Buddhists who believe in karma and believing the Buddhists who believe in karma, the action, the consequences of action, you know, how far it can go, how intense it can go. From there, you know, bring some differences. Those who believe, there are groups of, you know, who are not Buddhist follower but believe in karma, but the karma is to do with within one lifetime's experiences. There are also groups who believe just just these lifetimes. And this lifetime is very much defined by your action. There's also groups who believe one previous lifetime and this life alone. Or this life is the starting, then ending with another one life. So there are also such believers out there. But as for Buddhists, your action can result experiences in limitless lifetime. So that's the different. Limitless in the past and limitless in the future. And your action or your karma very much determined unfavorable reincarnations and favorable reincarnations, including favorable reincarnation even in the liberation state, means completely free from the contaminated aggregates, which meaning completely free from existing within the 6 realms of we call this samsaric cycle of existence, 6 realms, such as God, demigod, human, animal, hungry ghosts, and hell being. And the beings within these 6 realms are called from Buddhist understanding, is a suffering being, suffering realm. That's why I call this samsaric being. Samsara means suffering. The freedom out of this, existing in this 6 realm can be determined by your own action. It's nothing to do with the actions of anyone else. It's your own action can determine that. And that exit out of the 6 realm, if that exit also possible within this very cushion, within this very present time, if you manage to create the right and complete, most powerful actions, we call them meritorious actions, most powerful meritorious karma, meritorious actions. Right now means very next moment of the present is experience of liberation, which is the exit out of the 6 realms of existence. And the 6 realms of existence, even you born as a god, within this 6 realm, the god also, there are many levels of God. The gods are beyond the 6 realm, the God within these 6 realms. So God is very much one of the terminology you use, but there are so many different levels of gods. Like a human, we use one term for human in this human realm, but there's so many kind of human beings. So many rich and poor, happy and unhappy human beings. Western human beings, Eastern human beings, Himalayan human beings, blah 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 blah. So even someone being born as a god, but that god realm is within these 6 realms of existence, and that understood as it bounds by the other's power. You don't have freedom. Other's power here referring to karma and delusion. It's not talking about other person's power. It's talking about the powers are created within you, but it's not in your hand. So that become others' power. When you gain control over your own life is the day that you gain control over your mind. When you are able to control your emotion and design, what kind of experiences you wish to express through your mind, and that's the day that you gain control over your life. You gain control over your experiences, and you very much gain control over your karma. you gain control over that. The initiator of the karma we call the delusion, including ignorant. So until we gain full control over our mind, we are in others' power. We have no freedom. This is what Buddhists understand. And any existence that falls within the 6 realms of psychic existence are the productions of karma and delusion. It's produced by karma and delusion. Therefore, you have no control over. And the side of that we don't have control over on our life, our experiences. There's so many things we wish to achieve, we wish to experience, but it's not coming in our way. Such as happiness and the resources for happiness. We always aspire for happiness, isn't it? Nobody will aspire for suffering. Nobody wish for suffering, even for a moment. And everybody, whatever way you do, whether you say it or not, is you do for gathering resources for happiness. Education, we gather education mainly actually is for happiness, together to be more capable in gathering resources for happiness. I mean, nobody will study to bring resources for suffering, isn't it? Nobody will go to, no parents will send their kid to kindergarten to gather knowledge, to gather resources for suffering. Nobody will do that. Whatever reason you may be saying, you may be your gross mind be thinking then, but ultimately it's expressions of you want your child to be happy. So in order to be happy, you need to study, because believing that happiness comes from money, good job, good relationship, good status. So no education, quite hard to gather them. So you have more education, so you get better job, better earning, maybe better status in the society. And ultimately, the subconsciously, those are the way of gathering resources for happiness. But here, I think all of us, we are not children anymore. All of us, except me, I'm jobless. And I think I never work. Maybe maybe I can say it like that. But all of you, I think, most likely, Then not only not work, but I didn't even study properly because I didn't went to proper school. I have no school certificates. I don't even have a kindergarten certificate. So no question about having certificate of high school, university, So even my monastic university, if I bring that certificate, even though in our culture say, oh, that's the biggest certificate, PhD, blah, blah, but if I bring this to any, even in the kindergarten also, I'm not qualified. They don't recognize my certificate. So one time in Western Australia, that long time ago, they said there are possibility of what you call the philosophy teacher, professor or teacher or whatever, the job availability in the Western Australia University. And they said not many students, not many people interested. It's a long subject, and after that, mostly they don't get job. So philosophy, studying philosophy, religious philosophy, Buddhist philosophy. They said maybe a few students, 1, 2, 3 students possible, but they have that department. So the people who know me, they say you are fit for that because you are Geshe, you are PhD, so you will surely get that job. So I also one day went to try, So of course I had to show my what you call CV, and the first thing is my certificate, and I show my Geshe certificate. They say, "What is this?" I said, no, this is coming from the biggest monastery university. I said, oh, we don't recognize this. I was rejected from the job. Yeah. So then one time I feel like maybe I want to try, that's when I was taking care of a little lama, sending him to school. So I thought maybe I also take opportunity to work, the caring for children's, that's a childcare kind. Yeah, and also there are some jobs that you can actually bring children's, like kind of send children, like pick up the children, and I think there are few jobs. I think few kind of job. I can't remember exactly. And my certificate is not useful even for that. So I'm completely jobless. So yeah. So my point is, in our conventional way, all the studies we do, getting certificate, higher education, blah blah blah. All this is ultimately targeting to bring happiness. To gather resources for happiness. Ultimately, we want that. But we know up to today that didn't fulfill the exact what we want. I think many of you have all the high level of certificates. Maybe some are double degree, triple degrees. But heart is still not fully fulfilled. Still, there's many things that didn't happen exactly the way how we want, and didn't achieve the things that we wish to experience. And again, all those are to do with happiness. See, then also work very hard. Of course, utilize all those facilities and got good job and great earning, become a successful in the financial status. And even though the bank balance is very good, but somehow still the heart is not fully fulfilled. There's something still missing. There are a lot of things that still didn't happen exactly the way how we wish to experience. Need to be done. Are still unclear. It's okay. You carry on. Take your time. This is very good because sometimes my blah blah, there's no pause, so some people may feel sleepy. So this is very good. Caroline, well done. That was ChatGPT. That was ChatGPT correcting me.
You say the problem is bank account also not good.
Oh yeah. So anyway. Yeah. So. Yeah.
Yeah, hold it on, and
so,
it'll come up.
Yeah. So we all ourselves is the proof that all those object of refuge, the object of sources of reliance that didn't really manage to protect us from experiencing obstacles in life, incompleteness, limitations, physical, emotional, environmental, difficulties. So, so this is what really does by the worldly object of refuge, worldly object of reliance. So now here, the position of our existence in this human life is very much like right in the center of bridge. Which side you want to, you want to go. The other side is like complete cessation from all the things that that which you felt limitation in this side of the bridge. If you turn back without crossing the bridge, then very much repeat the same environment. But if you're completely able to cross that, then you really put everything behind. And after crossing that, even the bridge, you just wash it away in the river, so that even accidentally, that even sidetrack and through distraction, that also there's no way to return back. And the other side is complete cessations of all the limitations. So very much the human aggregates, such as the human intelligence, human mind, and even this human body, which is the basis of all the human organs, such as for the five senses faculties. If we utilize eye consciousness properly, that there's so many amazing things that we can accumulate, imprint through seeing, like such as reading scriptures, reading right knowledge, seeing holy objects. In Buddhist teaching, we understood so much merit and purification happens even just by seeing, like such as Medicine Buddha's statue. Medicine Buddha statue, Tara statue are called as the relics. It carry the Buddha's quality in their, how the paintings and statues are constructed, and it purifies our mind, and it accumulate military resources to eventually to achieve the holy body of Medicine Buddha, holy body of the Tara, etc., like that. Then ear consciousness, if we utilize meaningfully, hearing Dharma, hearing mantras, hearing sutras, such as Wisdom Sutra, that even just syllable ah, which represent emptiness, syllable ah, om ah hung the ah. Just by hearing ah, it understood the firmness of the samsara, means the samsaric aggregates. The firmness of the karma and delusions, ignorance, is shaken from their stability. The grounding on our being is shaken, means easier to purify afterwards. And no question about the hearing even more elaborate mantras like Tayata Om Gade Gade Para Gade Para Sam Gade Buddhi Soha, which is the expressions of the entire Wisdom Sutra, the emptiness teaching. So all the time, like hearing Dharma, hearing meritorious words and language, etc., etc. Then, like mental consciousness, because of the indestructible drop that we receive from our father, mother, which protect the consciousness in that house, the guest house, the indestructible drop, create an environment to have this wisdom as an extraordinary wisdom called the human intelligence. If our continuum happen to be born as an animal body, that animal consciousness don't have the environment to similar to the human consciousness. So human consciousness, because of the indestructible drop that we receive from father, mother, it carries so much of potential like such as realizing bodhicitta we talked about before, to actualizing our heart as equal as bodhisattvas, having great compassion, great love, boundless love, which is not possible for the animal mind, but it's possible for the human mind. Then this human mind, if we develop, even can realize wisdom, emptiness, wisdom, the direct wisdom, emptiness. Not only that, even this human mind has the capability to even achieve enlightenment, completely become omniscient. So that much favorable environment. You see, in Tibetan we call it ngalje kam tukden. The human life is actualized on the 6 elements, on top of the 4 elements, such as like earth, water, fire, wind. Then father's drop and mother's egg. So these 6 elements coming together, the continuum of our consciousness from the past, even we may be in animal realm before, but now, housing the consciousness into the continuum of the past lives consciousness into these human aggregates. The intelligence carries so much of power. So now, what will attract us? What will attract us to make sure not to U-turn from that bridge and make sure you cross completely? So in here, if I relate this to Buddhist, in Buddhist context, the Dharma context, then the other side is liberation. So this side is samsara, and this human person here is very much like you are right in the middle of the bridge, very much like that. But if we don't have a clear idea about what we're going to enjoy by crossing this bridge, there are possibility of returning back because of unsure of what other side life could be. That we need to clear the doubt. We need to be sure, where we're going, what kind of benefit that we're going to enjoy, and who will introduce us to that new world, who going to guide us in that new world, who will educate us in that new world, because which is not familiar to us, because we are only familiar to this side of the world. And for that, then we go for refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha, because Buddha Dharma Sangha is the one that who know entirety of the other side of the world, who also wants, similar to us, in this side of the samsaric world, like such as Buddha in Buddhist teaching, understanding Buddha initially sameness as us, sameness as one of the 6 beings in the 6 realms, and who have traveled whole through the 6 realms, sometime born as a god, human, animal realm, and hungry ghost, hell realm, and after utilizing the beneficial wisdom, which is what Buddha revealed to us the wisdom that which he used for himself to able to renounce this side of the world and to able to see complete, clarity about what kind of experiences of the other side of the world. And he is very much, the Dharma is very much the experience that he have used in sharing with us, which is called the Dharma wisdom. Is very much the person Buddha, who is a perfect guide to lead us to the unknown world for us, and who is also perfected, who has no limitations to fail us, guiding completely and perfectly, happiness after happiness, liberation after liberations, until up to the full enlightenment, which is we call the state of liberation or the complete liberation from all limitations. Like limitations like such as samsara is one of them. First of all, the limitations of 3 lower realms. Then secondly, the limitations of the entire existence of 6 realms and limitations of karma and delusion. Then that is called the limitations of delusions. Then finally, the subtle limitation is the limitations to the obscuration, the obstacle to omniscience, which obstruct to become omniscient. So Buddha have even overcome the obscuration to omniscience. That's why he's already actualized the omniscient state. That's why I call Buddha, not just Arhat, not just God. So it's omniscient. It's called Buddha. You see. So that's the reason that why you go for refuge in Buddha, and also the actual the way to the guide us is through knowledge. Of course, even when we go to school, the teacher is important. Teacher is the one teach us, but the teaching is the one that actually nurture us. That's the key thing that which you carry. You don't carry the teacher within you. You carry the knowledge within you. And similarly here, the teaching is the one that which Buddha himself have perfected in that. So he saw the limitations in counting is 84,000 different limitations. And he found antidote to each of them. That's why I call the 84,000 teachings of the Buddha, 84,000 Dharma. Very much he found and he exercised himself, not just someone found and he's telling a story to us. He himself in the position similar to us, he carry all those 84,000 limitations of delusion and karma, blah, blah, blah. And he used each of those different antidotes and apply it, and it works. And he achieved liberation stage by stage, liberation after liberation, until omniscient, by purifying the obstacle to omniscient. And that's how Buddha's way of offering refuge to us. That's Buddha's way of how guiding us. That's Buddha's way of how he protect us through the knowledge that himself perfected, and he's not just trying it out on us whether it works to us or not. It's not we are not a trial, we are not a guinea pig. The medical world, like trying before you really bring out the medicine to the market. First they take few people or a few animals to check it out. Buddha himself happened to be the guinea pig, and it works. And now he's bringing into us directly we are not the trial. Actual implementation of the medicine. You see, so therefore, even from that point of view, there's no side effect. Maybe that example works properly with the medicine or not, because most medicine have side effects. so Dharma medicine has no side effect. So that's why I call perfected, complete perfected, and from small problem to the biggest problem, from minus limitation to the greatest limitation. That's why he had to develop 84,000 different. He already figured it out, the every single detail of sicknesses, the limitations, and exact antidote, not too less, not too more. So that is the Dharma. That's why we go for refuge in Dharma. Then of course, we need a lot of inspiration when we practice from someone who's not already like the Buddha. Otherwise, it's like a bit too far. Like Buddha is perfected; he can practice this way, but maybe as a someone who is not enlightened, maybe not possible to practice this way. So we need some inspiration in ordinary level. Therefore, the Sangha refuge comes in, the whole day-to-day kind of prove to us that the Dharma really works. Or in other words, inspire us, which are the Sanghas. We call the Sangha refuge. Buddha, Dharma, Sangha as the three object refuge. So why we go for refuge in the Sangha? They live on the path and they assist us also take on the path or live on the path or travel on the path. So therefore, the Chandrakirti, the great Indian Pandit, one of the Madhyamika emptiness view systems, one of the great master, the hard disciple to Nagarjuna called Chandrakirti. So he has one composition in relation to refuge called the Kyabdo Tinjupa. Is the 70 kind of like points in relation to refuge. Sangye Chö Damgin the Tarba Deba Namki Kyab. He says Sangye Buddha, Chö is Dharma, Gindun means the Sangha. Tarba Deba Namki Kyab means refuge of those who aspire liberation. So this is the statement. So if your objective is nothing to do with the worldly concern, as I mentioned before, in worldly concern, everything carry limitation. We have tried all kind of refuge to fulfill our worldly concern, and nothing ever managed to fully fulfill the worldly concerns. We want best health, and never, there's no one human being say that I like never experienced any kind of health issues. Even you have access to the best medicine, the best doctor. You see. So, and many people thought money will solve all the problem. No, there's no one out there that realized that, after earn $1 as a child, say, then that will solve all my problem. So when the child get $1, then realize, no, this didn't solve the problem. Actually, this brought more problem because the greed increases. Then after that $100, some people a certain stage never had money, more than $10. One day, if I have $100, then all my problem will be solved and all my wishes be fulfilled. But when they get that, no, they didn't. Then million, 100,000, then a million. In the past, how many people aspire to be millionaire, then thought that, okay, that's I will behave like equal to the God, and all my problem will be solved. And there's so many individuals in this world become millionaire, and some even die with suicide while they are millionaire, you know. And some millionaire, they die with sickness, even though they have millions in the bank, millions of money can pay for the doctor and medicine, but they didn't manage to save their life and suffer with so much of regrets, so much of regrets in their false view. They thought that, oh, this I've been working so hard, even neglecting everything and earn the money. But then in this stage, the money didn't help me at all, not helping me. And devastated. You know, more the person dies, more suffering than the poor person dies. Many like that. Then after that, set the target billionaire. You know, now in the world they count on how many billionaire in that country, how many billionaire in that state, etc., and thought that $1 billion will solve all the problem. Again, you know, just during COVID period, you know, billionaires' family were unable to protect, you know, have to die because of COVID, and even cannot touch the body because of COVID, and just simply throw in the plastic and throw somewhere else. Even didn't manage to do the proper right, the final rites, but had $1 billion in the bank, didn't work at all, etc. And now come to a set of $1 trillion. How many $1 trillion? You know, now there's a trend of saying, okay, now billionaire is nothing. Now, you know, have to go beyond that, etc., etc. Anyway, an example like that. Then medicine, you know, the medical science is getting so advanced. It's almost looks like any diseases can be solved now. But then many strange, unknown diseases are developing. And the science are still getting trouble. Yes, in the past, maybe less medicine, less advanced in science, in the medicine, but also lesser kind of diseases. You know, now more medicine, more advanced in the science, more diseases. You see, the samsaric challenge with all the refuge that we thought this will protect us, nothing benefiting. It's temporary benefit, of course, is good, but there's no ultimate benefit. And now some more. So therefore, the freedom from all the trouble is definitely the state of liberation from all the worldly concerns. Once the worldly concerns is over, then worldly environment is stopped. Even in this lifetime, you know, when the worldly concern is stopped, then the environment is no more worldly environment. In fact, it becomes like a celestial environment, like such as like for the Buddhas, you know, our worldly environment for Buddhas is a Buddha's realm. The worldly peoples are for Buddhas is angels, like we call Dakas and Dakinis, you know, because of his mind is purified from the worldly concerns, and we too have an opportunity to experience the similar way, even in this human life. And no question about one day when we purify this human, quite a challenging aggregates, when our being is only remain that purity state called the clear light state, which every circle of life we have a natural occurrence of our clear light state. Only that subtle body, which has no impact at all from the contaminations of the environment, not even by the karma, because karma is not innate of the clear light. It's pure by nature. You see, it's like a sky, you know, space is innate nature, is luminous and unobscured. And the clouds are just temporal. obscuration. It came after the space, isn't it? Clouds came after the space. Storm came after the space. But then again, emotionally, we can relate to a space, that stormy space, that stormy sky, or even on the stormy day, we still say, oh, this is just temporal, and still have the awareness of the actual nature of the sky. And that day we can live in the house, but we can live with some uplifted spirit rather than completely defining the whole space is a stormy space, isn't it? So it's very much like the knowledge of that clear being and knowledge of that contaminated being. Whether we're defining ourselves in relation to the innate being, or defining ourselves in relation to that obscured being, or the obscurity is the defining characteristic of our being, or the innate characteristic is the defining characteristic of our being. Whichever we place our conviction, that very much, bring the impact of how we experience the day, how we experience the life, how we experience the environment. You see, so therefore, when we have the correct protection, correct insurance, and correct refuge, which Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha, then we will definitely have a clarity about the path, and clarity about where we should be, which is state of the complete liberation. And that's one of the reasons why we go to refuge in Buddha, Dhamma, Sangha. So therefore, first of all, the liberation is the place we want to be. And liberation is simply meaning liberation from samsara, the existence within the six realms. Liberation meaning being free from the bondage of karma and delusion. Being free from, be in the state which is free from the influence of ignorance, influence of anger, influence of attachment, influence of ego. And there are so many, 84,000 different emotions out there, which is disturbing emotions. The state that which is free from that is called state of liberation. And the first benefit of going for refuge is we are able to at least be free from three lower realms, being born in the three lower realms. Being born in hell realm, hungry ghost realm, animal realm. Can you imagine? All the suffering in these three realms are quite unbearable. Even though like animals, which we directly can see them, and we think that they're very cute, they're enjoying. In reality, it's not as enjoyable that we see them. They carry the life that which is deaf and mute, mute and ignorant. Because of the ignorant and because of the mute, they go through so much of mental sufferings, which we cannot see that they are going through. So if we learn the tarot karma, how karma works, and how the karma bring about the existence of the animal's body, which is the factor that influence how they experience their consciousness, and from there we understand they are they always live in the fear due to ignorance. And sometimes we can see, especially the what you call sea creatures, and the birds, and deers. You will see they're always always like unsettled, being always alert because of fear, and they are quick react, like when they how to say, more quicker reaction than the human beings, when they encounter danger around them. Human beings are much more slower. It's because of they are like full time, being mindful about in the fear like that. So anyway, so first benefit is to be free from the 3 lower realms, and second benefit is to be free from all the 6 realms, and the third benefit is even be free from the limitations of just perfection for the self, liberation for the self. Then ultimately will achieve the benefit of we call the enlightenment state, full enlightenment state. So that's the most perfected liberation. But once you have the refuge, so this is based on Buddhist teaching. Once you have refuge, the refuge in your spiritual continuum as a precept vow, then the immediate rebirth after this human life is definitely protected from being born in the 3 lower realms. How much negative karma one may have in this lifetime or from the past lifetime, this immediate rebirth will be protected, being born in the animal realm, being born in the hungry ghost realm and hell realm, and even how limited virtues one may have accumulated, by the power of the refuge, definitely will born in the 3 higher realms, either human, God, or demigods. Minimum. The minimum benefit is that. So on top of the, if we take the advantage, take the opportunity to cultivate the precept, translating into observing more ethics, more concentrations, more wisdoms, gathering more virtues. There are basic virtues called the 10 virtues, gathering more virtues, purifying, as much as possible non-virtues. Again, those of the 10 non-virtues, like such as preventing, abstaining from killing, stealing, sexual misconduct, lying, etc. Intoxications. So there are 3 to do with the body, 4 to do with the speech, and 3 to do with the mind. So there are 10 virtues to moral disciplines to be improved by abstaining 10 non-virtues. Then not only lead us to a higher rebirth in human and God and demigod from the benefit of taking refuge, we can even able to be born in the Buddha's pure realms, like Chenrezig's pure realms, Medicine Buddha's pure realms, Tara's pure realms, Maitreya's pure realms. So the pure realms are not necessarily is a Buddha's realm, not enlightened state. Pure realms are very much in the label of a God realm, but beyond the God realm of the 6 realms. So it's out of the 6 realms, out of the bondage of the karma and delusion. It is a celestial realm, but not necessarily a state of Buddhahood. So there are many world systems like that, such world systems. The benefit of being born in the pure realm, Buddha's pure realm, you can have a direct access to the Sambhogakaya body that we mentioned before, like a Maitreya, like 21 Taras, Chenrezig, like a human to human conversation. And you are surrounded by it understood that you were surrounded by the Daka Dakinis, which are the celestial beings up there, and the principal, the Buddha of that Pure Land is never stopping, like all the time in Dharma discourse. All the time you will be nurtured by Dharma, nurtured by virtue. All the time you're listening to Dharma, exercising in Dharma practices. Whatever you see is you see only the Buddha's bodies, like Sambhopakaya Buddha's bodies. And what you experience is only virtue. And what you experience is only happiness. And when we pass away from that Pure Land, there are again two types we understood. If we have well practiced, like such as taking Bodhisattva vows, not only refuge, but higher vows than that, more vows than that, Bodhisattva vows, tantric vows, or whatever greater vows that you can practice. Or in other words, if you manage to practice more than what you could practice just the basic precepts of the refuge, which is basic precept of the refuge is, if you're able to benefit sentient being, do so. If not, at least abstain from causing harm to anybody. That's the basic precepts of taking refuge in Buddha Dharma Sangha. That alone give us the insurance that definitely free from three lower realms and definitely going to be born in higher realms of human God and demigod. But on top of that, if we manage to practice other available exercises, like the precepts, like 5 lay precepts, such as lay precepts, which are also in relation to the 10 virtues. 5 lay precepts are no killing, no stealing, no lying, no sexual misconduct, no intoxication. These are 5 lay vows. And the 5 lay vows are also, it's not something we have to practice all of the 5 from the very beginning. You can start with maybe no killing, means at least intentionally that, no killing. Intentionally, you will not go and kill any insect, which we are all doing it, which we are all not already practicing no killing. We will never, kill intentionally, even a cockroach. We will try to, if you see cockroach in your kitchen, I think any one of you will try to kind of like get rid of it, but with the life, and we'll send somewhere outside the garden or whatever. If you see any insect, like such as flies, mosquito, you won't go and do like that. I think none of you will do like this. And this is a common practice for flies and especially mosquitoes like that. I think here none of us will do that.
How about spray?
And I also believe that none of us here, even you use spray, but you won't use spray onto that fly, and onto that cockroach. You will put spray the possibility environment where the flies may come in, then you spray around. That's fine. The rats may come around, then the rats preventions. That's okay. But you will not like, okay, now there's a mosquito and zoom like that. No one will do that. So actually you are already practicing them, but now already practicing that and practicing with the commitment is another level. That's why precepts, like in conventional world, it's a I'm living in. There's some couples, they say they live in. I don't get married. Anyway, we do the same thing. So why need to get married? So go married and register or whatever the culturally marriage, and just living in is a huge difference. It does make difference. Isn't it? It does make difference. The difference is, just just a naughty way of saying is, if you in case don't want to live together, you can have a 50% share. If I think in the past is, I think if the husband is rich, then the wife get married, then you get 50% share from the husband if you divorce. But nowadays I heard that both were same. If the woman is richer, the wife is richer, then you divorce, you get also 50% back. Is that true?
Yeah, it's a shared.
I think it's shared, isn't it? Same, isn't it? It's all are same, equal, capable. But in the past, I think in some countries, I think the women's are more of like stay at home and raise children, and the husband go to work. Maybe in that sense or whatever. Now equal, isn't it? So if you are not registered married, then if you want to separate, then you just go separate.
But also the Western culture,
Uh,
de facto, that is without that piece of paper, also have the same legal effect.
oh really?
Yeah.
Okay, then I swallow back what I said.
6 months.
6 months.
If you live together for 6 months as de facto, you're
Oh.
legally classed as married.
Oh wow. Okay, there's new knowledge.
So you don't need a necessarily.
Paper.
Yeah, you don't need
Yeah.
paper.
You don't need a paper
You
now.
don't
Okay.
need to go to the judge.
Or
You
they
don't.
can show proof.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Understandable. Impermanent changes. Okay. So anyway,
I
Yeah,
think
I'm-
in Asian countries still can use this example.
okay, this example. Okay. So this example doesn't work here. So okay, I better stick with what I'm supposed to talk. Taking precept and not and just practicing it, the value, purification and accumulations of the merit is huge and numberless points are different. Because any precept, the merit in relation to becoming a dharma, becoming especially dharma virtue, it has to come from, it has to come from element of aspiration, and element of aspiration that also build on, abstaining non-virtues. So such as like killing, the virtue of no killing, you respect the virtue of protecting someone's life. You respect the life of somebody, life of others. That is already wonderful. But if you respect the life of others, seeing the limitations of causing life, abstaining causing life, that become part of the virtue of morality, moral precept, and so that's there need to be an element of renunciation. So in the actual Dharma language is Ngenjungi Domba. So Ngenjung means renunciation, Domba means precept. So whether it's a refuge precept, whether it's Bodhisattva precept, Tantric precept, or 5 lay-bow precepts, even a precept of no killing, you need to have the element of renunciation, and that will make the practice as a path to liberation. So that's the difference. So when you don't have the element of renunciation, introducing to have the precept, it is a great virtue. It is cause of happiness, but there possibility of not becoming that virtue as a cause of liberation and enlightenment, because it didn't become a path to liberation. So based on the Buddha's teaching, in the philosophy, defining what makes something as a path to enlightenment or to liberation, it defined by renunciation. So even some individuals, whether you enter into the path or not. So are you enter into the path of Dharma or not? So are you enter into the Buddha's path or not? So that defined by refuge, in fact. Refuge precept, refuge vow. Even though the family lineage may be Buddhist, but if you have not taken a refuge, you may claim you are Buddhist, but actually the creating of merit, which will lead the individual on the stages of the path and actualizing liberation or enlightenment has to come from the spiritual development, which has to come from developing the path, not by carrying, placing the tag, the title. So you can claim I'm Buddhist. You may be doing all the virtues as equal as Buddhists, maybe even better. And there are many individuals who does many great things better than Buddhists. There are many individuals. There are some free thinkers do many great things than even better than religious practitioners. So therefore, there are many people who does many great things who are nothing to do with Buddhists, nothing to do with Dharma, because of they carry just kind heart, compassionate heart. But those are great virtue. But is these virtues are acting direct cause for liberation, to really to able to cross over that bridge? You may achieve a lot of great things within that realm, but to really to go to other realm, it require specific causes, specific conditions, and specific, like it's, how to say, it's very much like going into a certain country. You need a visa. Having visa and someone that who have no any limitations to go into that country except the visa. You have never committed any crimes. You have the money to go. You have everything, but you don't have a visa, and that person won't allow to go into that country, isn't it? You don't have the complete cost to go into that country. Similarly, to go to liberation, we need particular merits, which is similar like the visa. You may be such a great person, good person, but to go into that particular spiritual zone, spiritual environment, such as called liberation and enlightenment, you need meritorious condition. And the meritorious condition are committed by path, spiritual path, the Buddhist path. And what define a path or spirituality or dharma defined by renunciation? Then you may say, then how about bodhicitta or great compassion? When you practice great compassion, does this become path or not? When someone have great compassion, genuine great compassion, you already have a renunciation. Renunciation towards the limitations of karma, delusion, whatever causes is for samsara, whatever causes for suffering, and that renunciation, always will be the element to able to have the heart of bodhicitta. So when someone has bodhicitta, even you don't remember you had renunciation is definitely there. Not only ordinary renunciation, great renunciation. Renunciation also got 3 levels. Renunciation in relation to, in the language of the Lamrim, the gradual path of enlightenment, is the small capable beings renunciation, middle capable beings renunciation, higher capable beings renunciation. Small capable beings renunciation is to actualize a path that will lead us to the small liberation. The renunciation help us to purify all those karma and causes to be born in the 3 lower realms, and will put in the position to enjoy the liberation out of these 3 lower realms, which is to experience the life within human, God, and demigod. So even that also dependent on having a path, which is renunciation. That's why refuge is the direct cause to close the door to be born in the 3 lower realm and to be reborn in a higher rebirth, minimum benefit, because the refuge very much developed on the basis of renunciation. you renounce how negative about the karma and delusion, how negative about how suffering, to even imagine to be born in the tree Lord Ilam. So you have a sense of concern or sense of in the teachings of refuge, even you put fear. You fear even thinking about, if I born into hell realm, how fearful to be born in hell realm when think about the suffering of hell realm. And how fearful to be born in hungry ghost realm, how fearful to be born in the animal realm. If we learn about the different general and specific suffering of the six realms, especially hell realm, hungry ghost, animal realm, terrifying. Just now even talk about a little bit about animal, because of ignorance, one of the main cause of being born into the animal realm, always keep you always in fearful, and the suffering of dumbness, etc. So hungry ghosts, unimaginable. And when talk about the suffering of hunger and thirst, and hell realm, the hot hell realm, cold hell realm. There are 8 different kind of hot and cold hell realm, and called Vajra hell realm, which is the nastiest environment to be born. So you have fear of, even though I'm not in there now, but reflecting on the rebirth that I have taken in the past and the actions that I have performed, even in this life, if check carefully, more neutral or negative karma than virtuous karma. Virtuous karma is a bit lesser than even comparing with the rest of the other two. Then, especially when you learn about the karma has a natural quality of increasing it. If its virtue also increase, negative karma also increase. It's understood that if we kill a mosquito, like insect, for 15 days we didn't purify, the power of the karma become very much equal as killing one human being in 15 days time. So thinking about all these things, okay, can you imagine, even though I never commit any heinous crimes, but I've killed, even unintentionally caused so much of life of insects.
When you're driving, it's always
Driving, mopping the floor, cleaning the house, even just that, Even each time when we shower, how many bacteria were scrubbed away. Each time we drink water, we boil water, even though we are not aware, but actually why you boil water. You want to make sure that all the germs are killed, not intentionally, but subconsciously is for that, why we make sure there's no bacteria on the vegetables, even though we can be so proud of that I'm vegetarian. No one is vegetarian. Until you eat samadhi food, no one is vegetarian in one or another way, you see. So I remember that one time that was in Taiwan. So there's some practitioners, they were very, very kind of like proud of being vegetarian. And they condemn those who are non-vegetarian. So my late master says, I think I see more negative karma in you being vegetarian than compared to those non-vegetarian, because the ego in you of being vegetarian is terrible. So negative. You just look down on everybody. You say one thing, you say you should be aware that no one, until you eat samadhi food, he said no one is vegetarian. He said even you are eating all the vegetables, the cleaning and even growing time, boiling, how many beings are killed. And not only that, how many bacteria kill body is with the vegetable and you're eating it. So he says, everybody has a reason. Everybody put into that position to eat whatever they are eating. But the main thing is we have to, purify the negative emotion in us, so the ego. So like that. Anyway, okay, I need to stop. Yeah, it's a lunchtime. Yeah. So yes, so this Chandrakirti said, Buddha Dharma Sangha is the object of refuge, those who aspire for liberation. So we aspire for definitely from freedom from suffering, freedom from causes of suffering. Then Buddha Dharma Sangha is the right object of refuge. Especially if you want to offer complete benefit to sentient beings, all the other sentient beings, starting from your loved one, then achieving state of enlightenment, omniscient quality, it is so crucial, so beneficial. Then for that, definitely, there's no greater refuge or guide than the Buddha Dharma Sangha. So like that. So then maybe later afternoon session we talk the different characteristics of the Buddha, different characteristics of the Dharma, different characteristics of the Sangha, you see. And also the refuge serve as a foundation, which is actually the one of the title, isn't it? Refuge in Buddha Dharma, the refuge precepts serve as a foundation to all the other precepts. Even if you want to take 5 lay precepts, you need refuge precepts. Even if you take Bodhisattva vows, you have to take on the basis of refuge precept. Even if you want to take initiation or tantric vows, you need to take on the basis of refuge precepts. So refuge precepts also is a defining doorway to that you are, you become Buddhist. You become in the part of the family of the Buddhist community in the ceremonial way, like baptizing, like that. The ceremonial way is by taking refuge, defined like that. So refuge is foundation and the doorway to all the amazing Dharma practices. Even though in order to become Buddha, is only those who have refuge have only potential to become Buddha. Every sentient being has potential to become Buddha. But when you have refuge, when you strictly follow on the path, taking Buddha as your teacher, Dharma as your wisdom, and Sangha as your community, then many more greater opportunities that you can integrate to sweeten the path towards enlightenment. So with that note, I stop here. Okay, have a nice break for lunch. Thank you.